Go. Hi,
Hello,
what's your name?
my name is Adam.
My name's Paige, so can you tell me what brings you in today?
Yeah, so I've been at Taylor for about a couple weeks now, a couple weeks into the semester. And recently, when I've gone away, my parents have been struggling. They've been working through a divorce. And so that's just a lot, kind of like being in a new environment at school and also like trying to be with both my parents, I guess, as they're working through that. And it's a lot for me to work through because I'm at school, I'm a freshman. And so, new environment at school, never been to college, never lived away from my parents, but now they aren't together anymore, which is really weird. And so,
Yeah, that seems like it's two very new experiences that you're trying to work through and trying to work through at the same time, which sounds really like it can be overwhelming a lot of the time. Just trying to find like where you belong at school and then also where you belong at home since they're separating. That can be really overwhelming. So what has that looked like, kind of like specifically as you transition to being away at school?
yeah, it's been a lot of phone calls with both of them, and in some instances, it almost feels like I'm a mediator. I was an only child, and so I feel like they're both kind of like turning to me to kind of like tell me their side, especially now that I'm in college. I feel like I've been able to like tell they've been fighting throughout the years, but I think kind of like me being in the house kind of kept them together. But now that I'm gone, they kind of like see that as like their escape, I guess. They kind of like leave, and so I'm just like in a weird spot where they're like, I'm the mediator, I guess, because I'm old enough to understand what's going on, sorta, is how they see it. And so it's just weird having both of them kind of like talk to me, but then I'm also like just trying to build friendships and stuff, and it's just so many different things, I guess, going on right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it can be really heavy, them putting all of that on you too, trying to talk to you about it when it might be hard for you to understand like what the process of divorce is too, because you've never seen that immediately, I think.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm away too, like I'm not there with them, and so that makes it different. I've never had the experience with to experience this, but also I'm not there to be with them, which has been just really weird.
Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to understand, I guess, and it is heavy because like, divorce. I've had friends who their parents have gotten divorced, and I've seen like how that impacts them, and now I'm kind of like living in it. Like it's just kind of surreal. Like I don't really know how to deal with it, and that's a lot of why I came in today.
Yeah. It's important that you're trying to focus on both of the things too and try to find ways to cope with that and just do your best to kind of work through both of those situations too, because both of them on their own can be hard. And just the fact that you're away and like you have to be on the phone to talk to them. Trying to separate those two, like it probably can feel surreal. And, what have you found has been helpful in navigating both of those?
There's a lot of events because it's been the first couple weeks of school. There's been a lot of events at school, so just kind of like getting away to kind of like do those events and kind of like distracting myself has been helpful. Just kind of like not thinking about it, because a lot of the time when I'm on my own or in the dorm room, that's a lot of what I think about. So that's just a lot, and it's kind of stressful. And so just like being able to meet like my wing mates has been helpful as well. Kind of like going to the events with them, kind of learning more about them has been really helpful. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a good community that you're starting to be able to relate to and be a part of, and it sounds like that could be really helpful in just kind of getting your mind off of what's going on at home. So So you feel like you have been making good friends that you feel like you can trust, or just
Yeah, so I feel like I'm getting there. Like I have a group of people that I feel like in the future I could tell them like a lot about myself, but I also just feel like it's too early, I guess, to open up to kind of people because I'm still new. Like they're still new, and so I don't know. I guess I'm in a way I'm kind of like scared of kind of like because my parents divorced, like that's happening. I'm kind of scared of like losing people, and so like I'm kind of like a little nervous to open up to people. So I'm just kind of like feeling it out and making sure like I'm making friends with like the right people that I trust.
Yeah, it seems like this divorce that your parents are going through has kind of caused a new fear too, that of losing people, because it sounds like it's been not very gradual of a process. It's kind of came up all of a sudden to you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's why it's kind of?
Yeah, because again, like I knew they were fighting, but like I thought they would be like okay once I was gone, but like once I left, it was just kind of like everything started happening so fast. Like they got, and so I didn't realize like how it was kind of the big reason they were staying together, which is just crazy, and that has just created this fear that what you think was like kind of good in a way wasn't good, and so just like a fear of people just like up and leaving just kind of like really quick, like it's happened so fast in the whole process, and so I'm just nervous that like at some point people could do that to me too.
Yeah, it seems like you are feeling like it might be your fault in a way. Do you feel like it's been your fault? Because I'm sure it's not, and it can be hard to kind of just think that it's not been.
I don't know if I've necessarily thought it's my fault. I feel like I'm kind of the reason they stayed together, so maybe that. I haven't really thought about that though. I don't know. It's just I try not to think too much about it, especially when I'm not in it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that can be a good thing too. Is not trying to find a way to make it better that might not be actually true. So that's good that you haven't put that weight on yourself, that you might have been a good thing in their life, but now that you're gone, it's just might have been creating a lot like more tension between them because they have more time with each other, and now that they're apart, it's just kind of really different, and might even seem not real to you. Do you feel like, because that's what you've been used to all your life, is them being together at home, and now that you're in a new environment, and remembering that they're not together, that can be really, really hard.
I think that's been one of the harder parts, is just understanding that I have lived my whole life with them being together, and then I go away and then they're separated. Just like when I go home, like it won't be the same. Like I'll be going to the home I've lived in my whole life with both my parents, but only one parent's going to be there, and my other parent's going to be somewhere else. And so just like that whole thought process, I guess I don't know what that looks like, because I haven't gone home yet. It's only been a couple weeks at school, and I'm trying to get used to school. It's a new workload at school. Like that's another stress. It's just in high school I didn't really work hard, but now here in college, like I feel like I have to work harder, just because the classes are heavier and stuff. And so it is weird thinking that going home is going to look a lot different. I don't know how to process or think about that.
Yeah, it seems like there's just so many unknowns, because it's the beginning of both situations that you're trying to figure out while starting a new school year and a new academic load that's much more rigorous than you're used to. Can be hard to balance those two.
Yeah, it's definitely been hard to balance. Would have been nice to just come to school and that be the only thing I have to focus on. And so, I mean, I can't do anything about it except learning how to, I guess, work through that and cope with that. And so that's, I guess, what I'm trying to do the best at, because I can't change the situation now. I wish I could.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be able to go home to both my parents in the same house, but that's just not the way it is anymore, and it's just hard to comprehend.
Yeah, well, it's good that you know that it's out of your control and that you really can't do anything about it. That might be, it might be a view that you can look at to kind of alleviate that stress. That like, okay, you're away at school and you're supposed to be focusing on your friendships and academic and getting comfortable in a new living environment and community. It's just kind of letting go of what's going on at home and knowing that it's not in your control. So.
Yeah, I've been doing my best to kind of like focus on school and those relationships, but it has still just been hard because my parents, all the time they're contacting me to kind of like tell me about what their life is looking like and stuff. And I guess that's one thing I can't control, because I feel an obligation to pick up the phone when they call me, because they raised me, and I love both of them, and I feel like they raised me well, and so I don't know if that riff was again because of me or because of something they had going on, but I just feel this obligation, which kind of takes me away from the relationships at school. And so kind of like whenever I feel like I'm relaxing, kind of like unplugging from the situation, I get a phone call and they're telling me about something, and so that's just been kind of hard. I just feel that obligation, I guess, to answer right then and there. And so
yeah, it seems like you're trying to figure out your boundaries that you have with that, and being able to say no, I'm focusing on this right now. And it seems like you have a good relationship with both of them. Would you say that you're trying to keep that as well as you're going
Yeah, I'm
through
still
that?
trying to keep both relationships.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
It is hard, because again, they raised me, and I feel like they both raised me well, and so like I don't want to like hurt those relationships, and I just feel like because they don't, I guess it seems like they don't have somebody to go to, and so they're turning to me, and so I feel like if I decline picking up the phone, like I don't know what that means for them, or like who they'll go to, and so that's just been like a hard thing for me, is I feel like I need to be the one picking it up and like helping them process through that.
Has there been anything similar that's happened in your life with them that's similar to this, that you've had to find ways to kind of cope through and get through?
Not that I can think of. I don't think so. Not really.
That's okay. That's kind of a good thing that you haven't had to go through this, but kind of makes it harder to try and figure out the boundaries between wanting to know what's going on, but also not trying to get too involved where it's creating a lot of stress for you. So, what do you think has been the hardest thing to get there and kind of think about?
I think what we were kind of like talking about earlier is just the idea of going home and not having both of them there. Like, I guess I can't really comprehend that, because you live with something your whole life, and then you leave, and then it changes without you even being there to see it. Like, I wasn't even there to like kind of like see everything happening, and so it's just kind of like happening without me there. And so I guess sort of in my head it's like I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe, like, part of me is still just wishing that when I go back, like both of them will just be there, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's been hard.
Yeah, it seems like it definitely has not become real. Having to anticipate what it will look like going home, that can be really hard.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, I guess, and that's just more anxiety. And so
yeah, well, I appreciate you coming in. I think we can revisit that next time, and I just wish you well in trying to figure out that balance between the two scenarios. Thank you.